what we do is we work majorly on the and okay. I think we'll get started. Let the people come and join and watch the recordings later. Let's not waste the time. Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are from, whichever part of the world you are from. Welcome to this class. And am I audible? Is my sound is clear? Is my audio is clear?
Yes, sir. Everything is clear.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So let me introduce myself. Today's session is going to be on vibe coding, and my name, I have a very long name. My name is Shonraj. Middle name is Balle Ganesh Rao. Ganesh Rao is the last name. And I work as a senior AI scientist in a company called Tech Frameworks. Okay, Tech Frameworks, what we do is we work majorly on the consulting and advisory services. Our main business role model is we take a big LLM, large language model, shrink it, and fine tune it for the specific enterprise needs. That's our main business models. And we also involved in training and advisory, where my team, which is led by me, is basically we go and go to different enterprises and we train them on using AI solutions. We mainly, or at least I mainly involved in training on agentic AI solutions for many software companies here in India. So I located in a city called Bangalore in India. This is called as the Silicon Valley of India, and it's also famous for its traffic. Okay. Fortunately, I work from home, so I don't have to travel a lot unless I have to go and travel to this many companies and then do the training, which happens, once in a month. So I don't have to do much of a travel. And my PhD is from computational visual neuroscience. Whenever I say neuroscience, people think, doing some MRI or something like that. But no, I didn't do that. What I did was I did my PhD is via computer science department. And what I did was when people measure this different signals in the brain, right? So they put electrodes in the skulls and then they measure these signals. They study how the single neuron fires. What they want to know is how each neurons interact with each other, how this neuron of this one region fires helps in the firing of the other region. That is computational, that is modeling, right? So I did computational models and I did some special kind of a machine learning model called Bayes theorem, Naive Bayes theorem, where given one particular area of brain is functioning, what happens to the other area of the brain, how much it will function or how much it will fire, and all that's kind of a modeling is what I did. So it's a purely simulation based, machine learning based studies I did. So that's my PhD, but my undergraduate is slightly different. I did it on chemistry and mission sciences. So that's my undergraduate, but I did the undergraduate in India. Post that I switched my fields. After doing PhD, I worked in many academic institutes and I finally settled down to industry. And my main area of interest is AI in healthcare. Okay, and that too, especially on software as medical devices. I have developed some algorithms which will look at the picture of the eye. So not the front picture of the eye, but take a back portion of the eye and then predict what is the risk of having someone having heart diseases, future heart attacks, and also what is the risk of having someone diabetes and hypertensions. Okay, and this AI which I developed is commercially available, and in fact, my AI is became the one of the first commercially available and recognized by regulatory bodies of India. Okay, so that's what I have done so far, and now I'm with Tech Frameworks, mainly helping with the enterprise solutions. Like I told you, my main area of interest is on healthcare. I do guide DBA students, and my area of specialty, since my area of specialty is healthcare and pharma, I mainly take students who are do projects only on that field. So if you are not in that field, probably you are not talking to the right person. Okay, you will have many professors coming on your fields and then talking to you, and probably you may approach one of them, and they may help you on those projects. If you have anything on healthcare and pharma, perhaps I can be one of your point of contact where we can talk about this in future. Okay, I have given my LinkedIn profile. Here it is, and I will share the slides later to you guys, so you can click on the link and then send your friend request. Okay. Apart from this, I'm not going to talk anything more about myself. Do you want to ask any question about me? You can ask now, or else I will not talk about myself and we'll dive into the class. Okay, let me look at the comments.
Sir, is it possible? Can you give a little more about your PhD, which you mentioned about this neuroscience, and it's too fast. We can't. Can you give
Okay.
little, at least one or two extra? That would be nice. Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was this. I studied on a particular disease called glaucoma. Okay, which is what happens in the disease is your pressures in the eyes increases. As a result, you will lose the vision. Okay. What I did was this. If there is a damage, so back of the eye, you have this nerve fibers layers, nerve cells. If you scan the eye, and then if you find like some percentage of loss in the eye, how much percentage of loss that would reflect in the brain is what is the question I asked. Okay. So for that, you can do multiple things. You can just scan the eye. You can take the patient to the MRI machine and then put them on MRI machine and then study what is the brain size and things like that. But the problem with the glaucoma is the brain size doesn't alter too much. So it's very difficult to find changes in the brain. You can also do, what you call it as EEG, electroencephalograms, but that too is signals are not that great. It is a bit weak. Now you have to you need to know how much brain damage happened because of the glaucoma. But since these two modalities does not give a lot of good answers, you end up doing something called machine learning. So in machine learning, what we do is given that your retina loses this much amount of nerve cells, and from the signals that you get it from MRIs and EEGs, this much amount of functional loss happens. What would be the loss that you would expect at the brain? Is the question I try to answer.
Super, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. It's very inspirational. Thank you.
Yeah. But I can talk about my PhD on and on, but let's go on to this today's class. Just one question. I know there are a few people from outside India, and I have a very, very, very typical Indian accent. Okay, I will try to speak as slowly as possible, but in the heat of moment, I will go very fast. Okay, like that. So if I go fast, please stop me and anytime unmute me and ask me to explain. I am happy to explain. Okay, so don't feel bad that I'm stopping him. Plus, please do feel free to stop me and ask me to explain again. I will explain. Second request, please don't call me sir. Call me Shunraj. No Dr. Shunraj, no professor, nothing. Just call me Shunraj. I'm happy to answer you. Yeah, so please call me Shunraj. Okay, let's go to today's class. And today's class is on vibe coding. Okay, I don't know how many of you heard about this word, and it's very, very common now, trending word. So this basically, this vibe coding is, I would say it's become popular after this guy, Andrew Karpathy. So Andrew Karpathy is a co-founder of OpenAI. Later he moved to Tesla, where he worked on some, this autopilots in Tesla. Now he has a YouTube channel and he does multiple other projects as well. But he has a very good YouTube channel. I strongly recommend to go and look at his YouTube channel. It's very nice, great teacher, fantastic explainer. So you go and watch his YouTube videos. So basically, this guy back in last year, exactly 1 year ago, he tweeted one single line saying that I don't do coding anymore. All I do is white coding. Okay, that's a one tweet, and that became such a huge trending topic. And then now if you see there is a dedicated page in Wikipedia for white coding. Okay, so the white coding word is the slang is actually started a year ago, and now we are learning 2.5 hours. We want to spend it on white coding. It's crazy. But if you think about it, white coding is although the word white coding is become trend after this guy tweeted about it. Before that, this vibe coding, there were industries built around the vibe coding. Okay, for example, I don't know how many of you know all these industries, especially these industry. There is a ID called Cursor. Okay, now the Cursor is a environment where you can code using prompting. So it connects to your large language models in the backend. So you just type some codes there, prompts there, and it will convert those prompts into code and then give you the working code. Okay, it itself is a big industry. The vibe coding itself is a big industry. So please, I know majority of you are from business background. I'm from the technical background. But if you are thinking about vibe coding as a business, there is an opportunity already, and there are many people are already a big players in this. Okay, right. So enough talk. Let's do a vibe coding. Let's do a live demo of vibe coding. There will be some. I will be switching my windows from here to different LLMs. I'll be showing multiple things. So please bear with me. I'll go to my browser and I will go to say Cloud, right? Take a time. Okay. Great. So today morning, I was conducting this class and I did a small demo there. I might just show the demo or I might run it one more time. Only thing is I don't have a premium plan in Cloud. I have only the free plan. So I'm a bit worried about my token length. I have a premium plan in Gemini and also in ChatGPT, but I don't have a premium plan here. So anyway, so let's copy this prompt. Let's not worry about that part. Okay, so here is the prompt. Paste it. Come on, I didn't copy it. Copy this, go to new, paste this. Okay, so now what we will do is, you see this is the prompt I'm just typing. Build me a simple web app that helps a sales manager track daily performances. The app should let me add, so very vague English, right? The app should let me add some team members, enter today's sales, show who is best performance, and it should look clean and professional. And I'm going to use the latest model. The one Opus 4.6 I don't have access to, so I'm going to use this Sonnet 4.6 model. Okay, so let me run this. Let's see what happens. And it will start writing the code for us. Let's see. There you go. It start writing something. And once it's done, you will see a working code with us. I didn't do anything. I just communicated to this large language model in a plain English language, and it started writing the codes. Why did I use Claude instead of GPT? Just that I'm going to show all these things. In general, Claude is good in writing codes compared to GPT. That's a general perception. But yeah, just simply like that. I will show many LLMs today. I will open Gemini, I will open Gork, I will open GPT, and I will show you around. Okay, it's writing, it's writing. See, it's keep on filling up. I don't know how many lines of code it's already. I just ask this in 3 sentences, right? Like, 3 lines, in plain English. I don't know how many, lines of code it has written. It's writing, 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 writing. Stop somewhere. Wow. I didn't give any context. Let's, Sam, this is very important questions you are asking. Context is very, very important. And let's talk about this context today. And that's where I want to set the tone today. Okay, so it's done. Now it gave me this nice looking app where I can add some name, Jordan Lee. He's from East Coast. I add this team member, I added, and then his sales target also I can add it. Select the member, Jordan Lee. He has done $100 sales in a partnership sales, something like that. So I log it, and you can see that live board is already built, right? Jordan Lee has done this much. I can keep on adding name, and then you can see that it is doing its job, right? So the code is here. If I download this code, it will get downloaded. And if I open this code, sorry, it's in HTML, right? So let me open it in the VS Code. And open the code, open the file. And open, go to downloads. And then open this. See this. It has written for simple, 3 lines prompt I wrote. It has given me how many big lines of code? Wow. 753 lines of code. 753 lines of code, guys, with simple prompt like that. Okay, so that's really wow. It's really wow, right? And it worked, and the artifact worked. We just have to download it and then run it. It's a HTML file, which means even if I just open the HTML file. So here I open the HTML file. You see that how it looks. I can still add, Lee, East Coast or something like that, and I can still have this nice little. J lead and Emily will do it. And he's from the West. And I can add Emily has done $50 sales in partnership. There you go. So nice little dashboard created. And it worked like a magic. It really worked like a magic. So that's wow, right? That's really wow. But the problem is this. It looks like a magic initially. But it's messy. I'll tell you why. Look at the code. I don't know how many of you are from the programming background. But if you are from programming background, the moment you look at this code, tell me whether you understand head and tail of this. I'm not asking those who don't know how to code. Those who know how to code. One of the problem with this is nowhere we have comments written here. Meaning, I don't know. So for example, I might take some function or something like that. So I don't know what is this one doing. I don't know what is this one doing. I don't know what is, okay, at least something written here, right panel. What is this one doing? What is this line of code doing? It is very, very important to write some comments here saying that, hey, the following, something like that. You start writing then saying that the following part, and this is Java, right? HTML, right? So This section is for gradient line, blah, 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 right? So we need to write something like that. So someone who reads the code understands what this one does, okay? Although it has given me a bigger code, it is kind of a messy. And believe me, there is a nice little paper which is published. Again, sorry about this. I will switch between windows, so please bear with me. I will go to my downloads folder. While coding, not my downloads folders. Go to this folder and go to my notes, and I will go. This research paper, let's look at this. This is published in 2025. Okay, measuring the impact of AI on open source code development productivity. And what they found, this is from a very reputed university. I don't know which university it is. We'll look at it. Look at that. This is from what people are thinking, that how much AI will help them in doing codes. But what actually observed is a negative result is what they found. Right? It increased. The plus is here, time taken. So it actually increased the time taken for them to give a final solution than rather than what they thought. This is what they thought. The economic experts thought, oh, coding will become faster. The time reduction will be 40% reduction. ML people said that there will be 40% reduction. Forecast developers said there will be 20% reduction in the time that they develop it. Developers estimated roughly 20% time it will be done. But what is the actual result they found? Developers take more than 20% of the time than actually not doing any AI. Right? I will answer this question. Just 1 second. What they did was very interesting. They took 2 groups. Okay. In one group, AI is disallowed. In another group, AI is allowed, and ask them to write some forecasting, some projects, and recorded the time taken for them to finish the particular project. And what they found is those who used AI took actually longer time to finish the project than those who were not. Okay, I will share these articles with you guys. Yes, someone raised the hand. Please go ahead and ask the question.
Hi. Yes. So the question is very simple. For example, if we are given the proper prompt, might be the program itself can provide the commands. Is it? Because this is what I observed. For example,
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, that's my next point. Look at this. Why this breaks? Because of 2 things. One is, if you understand how the LLM works, you need to have an understanding about how exactly LLM works. Second is, like you exactly said, if you know how to prompt properly, I think you can do it better. In fact, that is discussed in that paper as well. Right? Yeah, thank you. So very good answer. Yes. So we need to, the reason why this is if you understand exactly how this LLM works, not in the details, not in the mathematics, right? Mathematics, leave it to the technical people. But at least some high level of understanding you need to have how the LLM works, and some high level of, and good hands-on, not high level, very good hands-on on prompting techniques you need it to do vibe coding. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is, what's the time now? 15 minutes, I set the context, oh, took half an hour. Okay, so what I will do is, in next 15-20 minutes, or rather in next half an hour, I will spend time on explaining how an LLM works in a very high level. Next 45 minutes, let's look at some prompting techniques. And last 35 minutes or 40 minutes, we will look at how we'll do some vibe coding. Okay, right. So let's look at this, and I will give a break in between, a 5 minutes break in between. Okay. Let's look at this, a high level understanding about how LLM works. Now let's look at this. A large language model. What is large language model? All your ChatGPT, your Claude, your Gemini, everything is a large language model. Your large language model is basically, what it does is it predicts one token. I will come to the token word again. It predicts one word at a time. All it does is it predicts one word at a time. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. For example, look at this sentence. This is a glass of orange dash. What is the answer for this?
Juice.
Juice. Why did you say juice? Why not orange squash?
It's more likely, more popular.
That's what you are more associated with, right? Something in your brain said that it must be juice. Probably juice. What that is, how did that probability came? Well, you might say, in my training data, imagine you are trained, right? You have associated with orange juice a lot than with orange squash. But there is nothing wrong answer, right? I can still say this is a glass of orange squash. No wrong, nothing wrong with that. But I have seen a lot of my previous training data on orange juice, so I will say it is orange juice, which is right? Now the problem is this. This is English, plain English. Does computers understand English? No, we know that clearly, right? The computers understands bits and bytes, you know that. And bits and bytes are binary. Bits and bytes are binary, correct? So let's look at this. I'll go to this next slide. So if you take this, I will click on this link. 1 second. If you take this any sentence, so this is a online tool, I will send these links to you. It's already embedded in this slide, so it should take you. If I say this is a class of orange, okay, a computer will not understand this. What it basically does is, the first thing it does is, it converts this into a binary digits, something like this. This is called base 2 encoder. We'll not talk about this, what is base 2 encoder differently, but this is what it basically does. Okay, so it converted this into this some binary words. Okay, this one THIS, then EAS is converted into this, A is converted into this, glass GLASS is converted into this, like that. Now see this. Now English language is converted into bytes and bytes and bits and bytes into binaries. But still, how does the computer understands that my next word should be juice? That's still a problem, right? So this doesn't solve the problem. If I just convert this into binary, it doesn't solve my problem. Second problem is, if I give space, or rather, look at this. So before giving space, look at this. I have 2 rows, and the third row is only 3 columns. I give a couple of space. Even that is converted into binary. I give a comma. Even that is converted into binary. All these are useless information for me, computationally intense, so I don't have to worry about all these things. So number one, I need to understand these words, and I need to understand the context of these words. So doing direct binary doesn't help. That point is clear, right? So we need to do something else. So what is that something else it does? Here it is. Each language model has its own tokenizer. Okay. Now ChatGPT 4 uses this tokenizer. Let's look at this tokenizer. If I click this, here is from the OpenAI platform. Now I type the same thing. This is a class of orange. I type this. Now the whole thing is converted into 6 tokens. Okay, now what is token? Here, each word is a token. This is a token. Is a token. A is a token. Glass is a token. Off is a token. Orange is a token. Okay. Now this one uses, every model has its own way of tokenizing it. Sometimes words like, I'm just coming up. Okay, anti-gravity. Okay, anti-gravity is a single word, but the way it tokenizes is slightly different. Look at this. ANT is token as 1. IGR is token as 1. Another thing, AVTI is token as like. The reason is why? Because ant means something. Anti also means something. Gravity can also mean something. ET, which associated with ITY, VITY associated with many English words, can be something. So it doesn't have to be each word has to be a token. Sometimes a word can be split into multiple tokens. Okay, and these tokens, even among ChatGPT, you look at it, the older models do slightly different tokens. I don't know whether you can see the difference. Look at anti-gravity. Here, ant IG is converted as 1 token. RATVTI is converted as another token. Look at the newer models, it's slightly different. Okay, so it is coded to convert this into tokens. Okay, great. Now, what is the main advantage? The advantage is, in the previous method, you see, how many rows it created and how many columns it created for the same sentence length. Whereas here, I just created with this 7 tokens. So the number of input that goes into this is slightly reduced. That's one. Okay, sir. Now I understood this. This is converting into tokens. Then what? Then I need to put this into a context. I converted this into some meaningful numbers. Okay, these tokens are called, I'll show you exactly how the tokens will look like. This is how the tokens IDs will look like. These are the token IDs. Okay, 25003822661, some token IDs. Okay, let's not go into what is this means, but these are token IDs that is created. So it has converted this word into numbers. That's all it did. Okay, now what ChatGPT at least 4.0 did is, it converted your whole English dictionary into 100,000 unique tokens. Okay, where is my pointer? Just goes on. Okay, so it converted your whole English dictionary into 100,000 unique tokens. Okay, great. Next step. Now we can use these tokens to do something called as one-hot encoding to convert this into binary. Okay, what is one-hot encoding? One-hot encoding means, let's say we have, again, I'm going to open my Excel. Okay, now I converted my whole English dictionary into 100,000 tokens. Now I'm going to start this into 0, 0, 0, like that, all the way to 100,000. Imagine that it goes all the way till 100,000. Okay, 100,000 columns. Now, whenever I see a word, this, for example, this token represent this. Let's say, whenever I see this, I'm going to convert that into 1. The rest I'm going to say it as 0. What is the next word? This is. So let's say this token ID correspond to the word is. So whenever I see is, I'm going to convert that into 1. Okay. So what will happen now? You will get, for that particular word, this is a glass of orange juice. You will have, for each token, you will have 100,000 columns. Whenever that particular row or whenever that particular column corresponding to this will be converted as 1, the rest will be converted as zeros. You can do that. But the problem is this, you still do not understand the words, you do not understand the concept, you do not understand the meaning of the words. The machine need to understand the meaning of the words, then only it can respond back to you. So instead of doing this, I think it's in 2016 or 2015, I don't remember the year, Google did something great, okay? They converted these words into vectors. Okay, I hope this link works, but let's not go into the details. Oh, the link broke. Okay, I need to fix this link. Okay, I'll fix this link. I'll send it across to you guys. Now, Google, what they did was they expressed these words as a vectors. Each word as a vectors. Okay, what is a vector? Vector will have some magnitude and some direction. It must have some direction. For example, what they did was this 100,000 words, whatever they have, they expressed each word in 12,288 dimensions. They put all these 100,000 words in 12,288 dimensions. Okay, please bear with me. I think this is slightly confusing concepts to begin with, but please bear with me. What it did was this. If you take a word water, right? Now, water is associated with many other words, correct? Water means moisture. Water means water is there in the lake, so lake. Water is there in the ocean, so it's associated with ocean. Water is also associated with soup. Water is also associated with alcohol. Water is associated with the juice, tide, etc. So the machine needs to understand this relationship much better, correct? So what they did was they put them into vector spaces. Now look at this diagram. Let's say if you go along this direction, you see a word plane. Now in this direction that you are going, in that direction, if you keep going, you look at the similar words around the direction. Okay, let me bring the pointer. Look at this direction. You look at the words around the direction. Plane. The next word around similar to that is astronaut. The similar word belong next to that is robot. Now look at this direction. Eagle. Similar words around the direction is cloud. Similar direction around that is fly. Imagine that you put another direction. If you go in that direction, if you keep going in that direction, I will find the word water. And if I look nearby words, I will find juice, I will find moisture, I will find lake, I will find ocean around it. So what now you have done is, you have taken this 100,000 words, 100,000 tokens, I'm going to use the word tokens, 100,000 tokens, and you put it into the 12,000 vector spaces, 12,288 vector spaces. So if I want to find similar words, all I have to do is I have to go to that particular direction and find words near to that. I need to do the matrix multiplication, or rather vector multiplications, to find the words. Are you guys with me? I know there will be questions.
If we could just repeat it once, that might be more helpful.
Okay. So English words are converted into tokens. That part is clear. Okay?
There is a background
Yeah,
noise.
yeah.
Please proceed.
So the English words are converted into tokens. We are clear with that particular part.
That is
And
correct, yes.
these tokens are some numbers that we saw that, and the whole English dictionary is converted into some 100,000 tokens. Now these 100,000 tokens I have, this bunch of words I have, I put that, see, human mind can imagine only 3 dimensions, because for us, we can look at only 3 directions, up, down, and this way, right? But computers can imagine that in a 12,228 directions. Okay. Each direction is perpendicular to each other. Okay. Now, I go one direction, I will find words, similar words around it. For example, if I go in the direction of the king, around the king word, I will find monarch, I will find power, I will find crown, I will find kingdom. All these words would be similar around that region.
Okay.
Now, what is the use of this, you might ask? I can do some mathematical operations now. I can take a word king minus man plus woman, what is the answer? Take king.
It's a woman king.
Woman king is
It's a queen.
Queen.
Sorry. Okay.
Right? So you can find some mathematical operations like this. Why? Because now I am dealing with vectors, and scientists know it is a dot product multiplications now. Okay, exactly opposite to the queen is what I feel is the queen is. Right? So all you need to do is, if I multiply two vectors, and whenever this multiply dot product multiplication is 1, then I will know that these two are in opposite direction. In vector space, opposite direction means perpendicular to each other.
Okay.
Okay, so it is helpful now.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Whenever I
Yeah,
raise my hand,
yeah. A
it
quick,
raises
a
hand.
quick
Okay.
question.
Yes.
So we understood the tokenizer part, wherein if I have a dictionary of 100,000 words, we made 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are kind of tokenizing it. That's the first step that we did. Now, when we're doing it as part of the next vectorizing, are we saying that in the dictionary the words are in a specific order, because that was a random alphabetical order in which maybe I'm just trying to understand. Just take a dictionary literal meaning, right? It'll be in the like right from A for apple to Z for zebra. But here in the tokenizer, we are saying that in the latent space, probably a man and a king will be nearing each other, queen will be in the opposite direction. But how is that alphabetical order mapped to this lookout? Is the
No, not alphabetical order is mapped to that. See, your dictionary arranged these words using some logic, and that
Got it.
logic is alphabetical order.
Yes.
Similarly, these tokens, I'm going to use the words tokens, right?
Yes.
These tokens are nothing but words. Okay,
Yes.
it can be half of the word also. Please remember that. Okay.
Yes.
So these tokens, I'm how to arrange it somehow. The way I arrange it is the vectorization.
Got it. So what I'm just trying to understand, 001 is a king, for example. Once I tokenize it, and 010 is a queen, based on we have read. So here, when we do the mapping itself, we are making sure that one hot and with the initial mapping, it's in the vector space. So it is like directly translating over here. Is that right statement?
It's a directly, what was that?
So the initial one hot coding itself, when we did that piece, the dictionary order itself is in the vector space. So we're able to code it directly.
So except that we don't do one hot encoding. We don't do one hot encoding. We do this vectorization. Okay, meaning again, these tokens are expressed in some 10020 1022 like that. Sorry, not 22, 100 something like that comes. These are in vector spaces. Okay, I say this vector belongs to king. This vector belongs to queen. But if you visualize this in the space, this vector king and queen are perpendicular to each other.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah. Sir, when you spoke about the 12,000 dimensions, so is it like, why is it only 12,000? Is it a limitation or? Yeah.
Good question. Yeah. When word2vec came, they put it in 300 dimensions. Okay, and as they experimented it, they said that increasing the number of dimensions are going to increase my precision of next token prediction. See, large language model, you predict the next token. This is a glass of orange. What is my next token? Is what you're predicting. So as you increase the number of phase in the vectorization, they found that the token prediction gets better, and they arrived at a number not more than 12,000. It is not increasing much, so they stopped it there.
Got it. And if you look at that, this is glass. This is my glass of orange wood, right? So in this, in these statements, there are these words like "this is my glass" is pretty repetitive and don't lend too much to the. So how is that seen from a vectorization standpoint? Because it's a
good question. Very good question. Actually, I'll come to exactly. I'm coming to that point.
Sure.
Okay, that's my next point.
So there's another one, if you don't mind. Can you explain the concept of vectorization a little more in a more simpler terms for a non-technology person to understand and appreciate what's happening in this space?
Okay, I don't know whether I should. Is there any simpler explanation than this? See, basically, these words that we have it, you are putting it into a cloud space where the words that are similar to each other will cluster together. For example, look at this: finance, investments, economy, country are closer together, right? Member, nation are close to together. School, family are close to each other. You take something like that. I'm saying just making up nation, finance, France, Iceland, maybe USA. They're all close to each other, right? So what we are trying to do is we take these tokens and we kind of cluster it. These tokens. We put these tokens are close together. These tokens are close together. These tokens are close together. Imagine that you are putting that in some kind of a library, right? And you put it all the similar words of this. Hey, go to that rack. You will find the similar words around the rack. You go to this rack. This rack is your fiction rack. This rack is your literature rack. Something like that.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
Right?
Yep.
The advantage of that is now you can do all this kind of a mathematical operation. I can take an uncle minus man plus woman. I can get count. Okay, so the mathematical operation becomes easier with this vectorization.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have a question?
Yes, Doctor, please.
Yeah.
Talking also about the dimensions. When we say 12,000 dimensions or something like that, is it also
Yep.
will consider also the system? How much system or how much, let's say, processors that we need to process this kind of
Yep.
dimensions? Or
Absolutely, there's a huge amount of processing. I'm coming to that particular point, right? So each time it has to predict the next word, right? It has to look through that many number of your tokens. So we have already 100,000 tokens, right? And in that 100,000 tokens, it has to look into this 12,000 vector spaces where these tokens lies, and then predict the next word, right?
Okay.
So it's very, very computationally intense, guys. I will come to the point, even though I will not touch deeper into that, but I will touch that point and then I will go. It's very computationally intense. And at the end of the day, it's all matrix multiplication. I will come to that part. But very good questions you guys are asking. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
I want to ask about who associate the vector to the token?
Oh, okay. Google did it in a word-to-vec paper. Why they did it, why they start thinking about it is because now I have this tokens. If I add, so let's say imagine king is associated with the token ID 352. Queen is associated with the token ID 700 something. If I do king minus queen, I don't get anything. 352 minus 700, what does it mean? It means nothing. I have only magnitude. I don't have a direction to it. But the moment I put them, king and queen are in opposite direction. Now, if I do a dot product multiplication, I know in a vector space, king and queen are in opposite directions. Okay, so the only reason we started thinking about in vectors is because of this mathematical easiness.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we got
just
these
one
tokens. Yeah.
Oh, just one other question. You mentioned that a token doesn't have to be, it is a part of the word. It could be
Yep.
like a full word also. So
Yep.
when you have these part of the words, like, you know,
Yep.
I think the example you gave is IG or
Yep.
whatever, like, you know,
Yep.
how are those, you know, relations formed? Like when you make this
Yep. Yep.
diagram where you
Okay.
make relationships, how are those done?
Yep. Okay. Let me take one example. I like to do coloring, painting, drawing. It can be anything, right? So I can say something like this. In my part time, I used to do a lot of sketches, and my hobby is coloring, drawing, something, right? Now, color, it will pick in one particular vector, but I know I have to put this ing from the same vectors. So, do you got the point? So, ing is another token that it puts it along with it. Color is the predicted word. ing is another token that is associated with it. So whenever you see this kind of a semi-associated words, like that comes very commonly in English, and that's where this breaking down into the tokens into this way becomes slightly useful. Did it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, sir.
Yeah.
So also, like, in terms of this is also evolving, right? For example, like, you know, now, like, you're talking, I think you gave the example of Greenland and USA. I mean, these are kind of being used together a lot.
Yeah.
So is that association being formed, you know, as things like move forward? Like, it could just apply to any other future phenomena also, where
Unless they train it from the scratch. Okay. These tokens are already created. Okay. Majority of the large language models, the tokens are fixed, or at least you saw the difference between GPT-3 and GPT-5, right? Like they change the token a bit. It's up to them if they want to change the tokens. But if you want to build something from the scratch, or you want to fine tune some models, okay, already existing model, you cannot do anything about the tokens.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now there is one more important concept, and I will come to that answer that whoever asked, like, what is this? Is there anyone else have a question? Prince, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. There is a probability comes here because
Yes, nice.
Because
Good
I
question.
see.
Please hold your answer. I will tell you.
Yeah.
Where the probability comes here. Yes, probability comes here.
Yes.
I will answer that.
Thank you.
All right. So this is next thing we need to understand. context length. Okay, very important. The context length is how many such tokens can be used in one single prompt. Okay, and ChatGPT has 128K context length. Claude has a million context length, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it has more context length. What it means is this basically. If you go here and then I ask, this is a glass of orange. I ask this, how many tokens are utilized here? We saw that earlier, we use 7 tokens. Correct? I enter this and it is going to reply to me saying, this is a glass of orange juice. So this is already 7 tokens. Imagine this is 8 tokens. Just imagine for a pinch of salt, go with this 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 tokens. Okay, or rather this is the answer. So this is a glass of orange juice. So it used 8 tokens is the output of mine. Okay, here is already 8 tokens. Here is already 17 tokens, and this could be some more tokens. So it replied back to me in close to 30 to 40 tokens. Okay, I asked a question. It consumed 7 tokens. It replied back to me in 40 tokens. So how many tokens it totally used? 7 plus 40. And if I ask something next, where can I get orange juice? Now I used few more tokens, and then it is going to reply back to me in this many tokens. So I already used 7 plus 40 plus I asked few more tokens, and it replied back to me in plus this many tokens. Okay, so whenever I start a new chat will take 100 and the context length of that new chat is 128K or 128 hundredths tokens is the context length. Okay, so whenever it replies back, it used the 7 tokens initially, then it replied back to me in 40 tokens. So that is 7 plus 40, 47 tokens. The remaining tokens are just padded as 0 to me. It consumed 47 tokens. The remainings are 0 to me. Then I asked this question, which is another 7 token. So 47 plus 7 becomes 53 or 7 plus 1, 54. Then it replied back to me with this number of tokens. Let's say it used 100 tokens. So that's 154 tokens. The remainings are zeros now. And you keep asking the question, the tokens usage is going to increase. So in a chat, it can take a maximum of 128K tokens for ChatGPT. For Claude, it is slightly higher. Okay, this is why you will see as you keep chatting with the LLM, or rather, I made there's one thing I need to forget about it. So whenever I ask this question, this gave me the answer. When I ask this question, what it does is, I said it used 7 tokens. No, I wrong. I'll go to this nice little calculation here and open the notepad. This is important for business people for you to understand what it does. Please let me know if you're not following. Here, I use 7 tokens. Okay, and it replied back to me in 40 tokens. Okay, again, I asked this question, and my question here is in 7 tokens. So my question here is in 7 tokens, but how many tokens it took in total? It will not take only 7 tokens because the context is already built. It will take 7 plus 40 plus whatever the 7 tokens I added here. So that would be 53 tokens in total. Are you guys with me?
So every point in time it's cumulative. That's what you're saying, sir.
It is cumulative, exactly. It replied back to me in 100 tokens. Let's say it replied back to me in 100 tokens. And I asked something else. Okay, it gave me this. If you want me to make oranges, how to make oranges? Okay, let's say I use 6 tokens now, and it is going to reply to me. Now, when I type this, it is basically your 100 plus 6. So it's 106 tokens now used. And it is going to reply to me back in some more tokens. So every time it is cumulative. So it's going to go back all the way to the top. So that's the reason why whenever you chat with these LLMs, after some time, it starts to give a better answer because now it starts to understand this context better. And also you will see that as your context getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it will the communication gets slower and slower because it needs to go back and look at all these tokens.
Sir, in this case, if you go back to your notepad,
yeah.
In this case, the question you asked was how to make orange juice. It is not related to the 53 tokens you consumed. It is a standalone query. How does it differentiate, or does it consume even the 53, saying that it has to be considered? Because making orange juice is very different from where can I find orange juice close by to me.
Correct. But it will go back and look at all these things in the previous.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because you need to understand the context.
Got it.
Now, why this is important? I will tie back to the vibe coding. Why this is important to the vibe coding? See, any enterprise, I go to many companies, right? Like I go to Microsoft, I go to ZS, Zensar, and things like that, and I train the people. A developer will have a set of tokens or set of tokens available for them in a month. Day before yesterday, I met one of the developer, and he said that he used Claude Coworks for writing his codes, and he said that this month I exhausted all my tokens, and it's what 20th or something. So he exhausted all these tokens. Now he cannot code, he cannot wipe code, because you saw that for the 3 words or 3 lines I typed in, the number of output it gave is 700 lines. Okay, so imagine how many tokens it has used. Imagine how many tokens it has used. And each person will have only a set of tokens. Why? I'm going to jump a few slides here. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Where is this? Because each model charge you for the tokens. This is per 100,000 tokens. Per 100,000 tokens, the input charge is 1.25. The output charge is $10 in GPT-5. If you use GPT 4.0 model, this is the input output charges. If you use Gemini, this is the input output charges, right? It's going to cost you. Everything that you are going to communicate with the LLM, whatever the LLM spreads back is a cost, is money for you. Okay, so it's important that we understand. Okay, let's go to 7th slide. It's important that we understand this context length a bit. So context length, everyone clear with that, right? So we have this context length. Okay, so let's go back to this question. How does now still LLM predict the next word? I understand the vectorization. I understand the tokenization. Together, this vectorization and tokenization, I'm going to call this as embeddings. Now, still, there is few more things needs to be know how this predicts the next word. Someone has a question?
Yeah, sure. So as you just mentioned, at certain point of time, it will get exhausted with the total number of tokens that is allowed into a particular model. So I'm actually trying to connect it with the proper prompting with it, right? Because the organizations generally for these days organizations are moving forward with the LLMs, and they are taking different models. So, for example, Copilot and all. So they generally focus the people to get a very good prompt so that they don't get exhausted with the token. Is that the Is that right?
That's the point. So a tool, even if the developer has, so let's say you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys are at the level of product managers or slightly have a higher level, right? And you guys take a decision whether your developers needs to have the LLMs or not. So even though they have access to LLMs, even though LLMs can write the codes for them, it's a useless tool unless they know how to use it. Okay, unless they know how to do a proper white coding. And there are ways that we should do white coding. This is absolutely useless for them. And you will see people coming back to you saying that my tokens got finished. 10 days into the month, they'll say my tokens got finished. The project will not move anywhere.
Yeah, that's why I asked this question, because some time back we had a similar case where people were saying that we are not getting what expected, and that's where the company roll out a training that there should be a proper prompting the people should have so that they don't get exhausted with the token. So today I got to know that this is how that it happens, right?
Yes.
Thanks a lot for that.
Okay. I still have to finish this. Okay. Now let's look at this. Oh, let's not give the answer. This is a glass of orange. You guys said juice. Next question. The clouds are in the. What's the most likely answer?
Sky.
Oh, sure. Not in the data center. Right? Okay. Next question. This is very, very interesting. I met a French girl, Emily, in a conference. We like each other a lot. Her folks are conservative. I need to convince them. I am booking my tickets too. Hands up. What is the likely answer?
Paris.
Oh, nice. Why did you say Paris? I didn't even say there is no word Paris here. Why not France?
Yeah, maybe broadly France. That's right. Yeah.
Right? Why Paris? See, what made you to tell Paris?
It's the most popular city in France.
Okay. Most popular thing in France. Okay. But there are some trigger words that made you to tell you, right? Look at this. My slides are not moving.
Yeah, the context is much bigger.
The context is much bigger. It's the word French, booking, and tickets that made you to think, because Paris is the most common airport that you usually fly into in France. And then from there, you might take a local train, right? So these are the trigger words that helped you mentally to say Paris. Correct? Similarly, the clouds are in. Clouds in. Most likely in the sky. So that made you to tell the sky. Orange, if I say this is a plate of orange. Plate of orange. you might have said plate of oranges or orange slices or orange something. But the word glass made you to say juice. You all agree with me? So in this words, there are few words that I need to pay attention to. Thus words help me to predict the next word. You all agree with me? So then these guys, researchers, came up with this paper, and it's a very famous paper, the most famous paper in last decade. It's called The Attention is All You Needed. Okay. So the paper introduced what is called as transformer architecture. And now here is where I'm not going to go into details. Okay. Because you are going to learn this transformer architectures in detail in your deep learning class. So I don't want to touch it here. But overview is this transformer architecture has something called as encoding layer and the decoding layers, many layers. Okay. And the first few layers of this attention all you needed in your transformer layers is your attention layer. Now these attention layers will give weights to these particular words, will give higher weights to these particular weights. Okay. So let's say you take a word something like this. You want to have a word, you want to have a stylish blue color car. You want to produce something like that. So that will create a car. The trigger words are stylish, blue, and car. So that led to creation of this image. Okay. So in this architecture, the overview, just a diagram. First you do the embeddings. What is embeddings? Tokenization, vectorization, together called embeddings. So first you do embeddings. So once I'm embedded, then you pass it these embeddings into an attention block. Where is the mind? Oh, sorry about that. You pass this into an attention block. Now this is a multiple attention blocks that it goes through. In each block, these words are getting weighted. How it gets weighted? It looks at the past data and it kind of like learns which word I need to give higher weights to. Okay. Now once it gives the higher words, now I understand the context. See that? That's the pain. From the English to understand the context, we need to come this much way. I have the English, plain English. Converting to binaries does not help. Someone asked the question, do we still work with the bits and bytes? Yes, we still work with the bits and bytes. We now converted this into some numbers. These vectors are in binaries only, but we now understand the context of these numbers. After this, we go into something called as neural network. I will not touch this neural network part because we will have a lot more to discuss on the neural network part. So the neural networks is a multiple layers of matrix multiplication. Okay, so the neural network look like that. It's a multiple layers of matrix multiplication. In each layer, you will have something called as a neuron. And each neuron will have its own weights and bias. These are called parameters. So whenever I say ChatGPT has 3.5 billion parameters, I'm talking about these parameters. Okay, so you give this word embeddings which pass through this attention block into this neural network. So this complicated neural network does some matrix multiplications to bring it out to the next word. So I come out with the next word. Okay, so a ChatGPT has what 175 billion parameters to train with, and GPT-5 has 1.8 trillion parameters to work with. So whenever I send a word, the word is converted into tokens. The tokens are now converted into embeddings, which is your vectorization space. So let's imagine in this example, it is not 100,000 embeddings, but 4096 embeddings. So 4096 embeddings multiplied by this many number of vector spaces, this many number of vector spaces. So that's this many number of multiplication that you need to do, each embedding into the multi vector spaces. That goes into multiple attention layers. So those multiplications happens. That goes into these complicated neural networks, feed forward, connections, output projections, and things like that. All this multiplication happens, and finally comes the next token detections. So every time you send a word, you send a sentence for predicting next word, this many number of matrix multiplication happens, and it happens parallelly because of the GPU powers that we have it. Okay, every time you do it, the matrix multiplication happens, and then comes out the next word answer. Okay, so hold your thought. I will take questions. So you have a sentence, you convert into tokenizers, you have token IDs, then those are embedded. Those are sent to your large language models. Now these large language models predicts words like that. And each word will give a probability words. For example, the cat sat on the is the word, and it predicted mat, cat, fence, window. And the most likely probability it gave is mat is most likely my probability output. So it gave a higher probability for that. So the answer would be the cat sat on the mat. Okay, not just that. Once it predicted, that token is again sent back, meaning the cat sat on the mat, is whole thing is sent back to predict the next word. Once the next word comes, that is added and the whole thing is sent back to predict the next word. So it's an iterative process. And that's how it brings in the next word predictions. Now I'll take questions.
Yes, Sunras. So you mentioned about this token exhausted. How this I can match in this picture?
Oh, okay. When you buy a ChatGPT license to you, personalized license to you,
Okay.
you will buy it for $100.
Yes.
Correct? Per 100,000 output, it charges you $10.
Yes.
If you have communicated with a lot with the LLMs and you have used 100,000 into 10 times output it gives, so you exhausted all your 100 rupees.
Okay.
$100 in that.
Okay, so this means, like, for example, in this example, the cat example, so it is first it is the 3 new tokens. Is it the cat sat on?
Yeah.
It's a new token.
Yeah, you can roughly say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens it used.
Yes. Then after that, when it is identified the mat and it is resending, that is not again take it as a new 4 tokens, is it? It is
It will
only
take. No,
okay.
it will take. That's the point. It will
Okay,
take.
okay, understood that. Yeah. Okay. Clear. Thank you.
Sir, in your previous slide.
Yep. Yes, I'll go to the previous slide.
Yeah, just it'll be easy. Thank you. So when you say on the right, you're saying ChatGPT 5 is 1.8 trillion parameters,
Yep.
and you got from token IDs till the last step here. So
Yep.
how do we understand the parameters to what you've shown on the screen? Is it across all these areas, all these stages, or is it only at a certain point in time?
No, across. So in your neural networks, also in your attention layers, these I didn't go into the details. Sorry about that part. Right? Each perceptron will have its bias, or weights and bias. Okay, meaning I sent a matrix. Okay, I will make it very simplified for you. Imagine this is a matrix. It's a matrix. You agree with me? It's a 3 by 3 matrix.
Yes, sir.
Now, in that multi-layer perceptron or that neural network, each perceptron or each neuron will have some weights and bias. Okay, let's imagine that bias is 0.6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this with 0.6, and my output, very, very simpler terms, will look something like that. You are with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So every time it passes through these things, it is doing matrix multiplication.
Got it.
Yeah. There is a very nice website where it gives us all this explanation, but I don't think I will see. I will find out if there is. I might have bookmarked it, in fact.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah, I might have bookmarked it, but these things you can explore if you want.
Sure.
This is too much of theory. Too much of theory if you really want to understand the thing. But I strongly recommend at this stage not to worry too much about it.
Got it, sir. And when we use the when we are using the LLMs and then there are prompts happening, it asks for feedback in Gemini AI, right? So whether it is right or wrong. So
yeah.
What does it do once it takes the feedback to adjust?
It takes this reinforcement learnings into this picture. Okay. For the next time training data, it understands which is the, okay, I didn't go into those details. Every time it respond back, there is something called temperatures data that you can fix. Okay. If you fix the temperature to be too low, okay, my probability predictions are very narrower. Okay. It will just pull out only certain words. Whereas if you put the probability temperatures to be too high, then it will pull a lot more words around that vector space. Okay. And then it will give the more answer. So it depends upon which one you prefer. And A, it may use it for your training data. B, it is also, every time you use this GPT, it will develop its own personality for you.
Got it.
Right? So it will understand this guy likes to have this kind of answer to me. So if I give this kind of a responses, this guy likes. The next time it gives much more fine-tuned to yourself.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, I'm running out of time actually. So let me hurry a few things. You guys know this, it makes errors. It is biased. For example, if you take you go to a LLM and ask, take doctor minus man plus woman. What is the answer? Still a doctor, but most likely it might give a nurse as the answer, right? So it has its own bias. These bias did not come from it. It came from its own biases we had that is ended up in the websites, and that is getting biased as well. Although there are many LLMs now claim that their LLMs are debiased, meaning each time the answers came, the human said this is a biased answer or not, and then that is taken in the input and then retrained. Okay, so but still the biases will be there. Ivan. Okay. And there are corner cases where it will not work fine, and it will hallucinate. And how to reduce all these things is we need to understand it. I will go to those details later. We can reduce all this by writing good prompts. Okay, LLMs don't understand. All they do is they predict at one token at a time. Okay, so your next token prediction depends upon how good you do a prompt. A good prompt reduces your ambiguity, and clear instructions gives a fewer assumptions. Okay, so with this, I go to the next step called prompt engineering. And I think I spoke about this. There are a lot of LLMs out there in this thing. And these are the more, the prices. I think this is updated a few months ago. It might have been changed. Please don't just rely only on this. Go and then check every time, please. Okay, but this is just to give you an overview. Okay, so we know this part. Now let's start with the prompt engineering thing. But before that, I'd like to take some questions and then have a small break, a 5 minutes break, because I'll go and grab some water. Then we'll look at the prompt engineering, and then I need to rush a little bit because I thought I will finish in 7:45 my time, but I'm exited 10 minutes more. Any questions?
Hi, may I ask about because ChatGPT, right, it'll give you a string of text
Yep.
Based on its prediction and all that. So based on the prompt. But
Yep.
then but I do not know how do I grasp the idea of humanized text. When you get a prompt to get a paragraph, and then they say it has to be humanized, so that you will bypass AI, checkers and all that. So how does all this work?
Let me ask a question. What do you mean by humanized text? A human read it and vetted it the answer?
Well, I mean, there are also AI that actually gives you the text in a humanized lingo or style.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got that. I got it. Okay. Yeah. So there is many parameters that internally they train it. Okay. For example, all this commercially available LLMs are more friendlier to humans. Okay, it gives the answer which are more understandable to the humans. There are LLMs which are developed and open source LLMs which are specific to a particular domain. For example, there is a LLM which is specific to physics domain, LLMs which is specific to medical domain, pharma domains. You chat to them. Okay, they are trained in such a way that you don't understand any of that because it will throw out a lot of the jargons, right? So I believe that's what you are trying to say. So it depends upon how do you train the data and how do you want to there are a few papers actually. I will try to upload this. How OpenAI did this. Every time it gave a prompt, they gave an output. They hired the people and then asked them to rate it, which is the most preferable answer. Okay. And based on their answers, they go back and then retrained it again. So that's how they got it more humanized. That any normal person or layman person can understand what. I will try to find that paper. It's a very very interesting paper, but I might not have it in my computer. It might be somewhere in the cloud. When I upload this in your portal, I will try to upload that as well.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me give a small quick 5 minutes break. Hold your questions. What I usually do is I put my online timer here. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not. Okay, share. Online timer. So I usually start an online clock here. When the clock sets 0, that's when I'm going to start. Okay. So let's meet in 5 minutes. I'll go and grab some water. I will switch off my cameras and Welcome back. Now, let's understand this prompt engineering, because I told you to get a better vibe coding. Am I audible? Am I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So in order to understand this, vibe coding, to get the right answer, we need to give a proper prompt. We have a high level understanding of how this LLM works now. Next part is we need to understand the prompting part. So you give a prompt to this LLM, and the LLM responds one token at a time. Now, the key factors in these communications is your clarity and your context. So you give a clarity and specificity, and you give a clear context, and that's where your prompting strategies comes into the picture. Okay. Now, your prompting strategies is mostly iterative and experimental. It is also about how you're aware and how you are responsible in your prompting techniques. Now, there are different prompting techniques. I will go in detail. I will not go much in details, but let's understand this in a high level view. Prompting techniques. There are multiple ways of prompting techniques. For example, there is an iterative prompting technique. Someone is texting. How does it look like thinking? It only predicts one at a time. How does it plans the whole paragraph? Oh, that's a good question, Sam. Okay. There is a lot more to talk about. It still predicts one word at a time. But only thing is, now it predicts a word, or it predicts the sentence paragraphs. It rethinks whether my paragraph is correct or not, and sees whether I need to pull any more other information from these paragraphs. For example, the latest LLMs are not just only predicting one word at a time. It also has tools that it can look at too. For example, Gemini can look at the latest information that is there available in the website. That is not a job of LLM. That is more like an agentic kind of a framework. So it goes to the recent news and then pulls out from the website what it is there, does a little bit of web scraping, looks at his answer and see whether my answer is not correct or not, refine it a little bit more, still predicting one word at a time, and then comes out with an answer. Okay. So it's end of the day, it still predicts one word at a time. Okay. Right. I think I answered in an overall high level view, but we will look at that. It's a very, very important question, what it means by thinking and what it does really. I hope you will get it as this course gets, as you go along in this course. Okay. All right. So prompting techniques. There is instruction-based prompting and example-based promptings. Now, in these techniques, there are different types of prompting. One is your zero-shot prompting, one-shot prompting, and few-shot prompting. The next type of prompting is iterative and refinement kind of a prompting. In this, your prompting techniques are iterative and refinement prompting, reusable prompt templates, meta prompts, and combination of the promptings. The third type of prompting is reasoning and process-oriented. In this, you have chain of thought prompting, stepwise reasoning or react prompting, very, very famous among developers. And then you have the role-based or context-based prompting. Here where you have the contextual prompting or role-based prompting. So these are the prompting techniques, and there are few more evolving. Every day there is new prompting techniques comes out. This one was taken probably 6 months ago. In 6 months, there are many new prompting techniques has come. But if you look at any standard, websites, it will say that these are the major prompting techniques. In fact, these are the major prompting techniques. Okay. And it's not like you will always do a zero-shot prompting. You might start with the zero-shot prompting, then you switch to chain of thought prompting from here to here. Then you might switch to role-based prompting. Then you might switch to iterative and refinement kind of a prompting. Okay. So this is not like one single technique. It's more like an iterative process. Okay. Now, I will go into each one slightly in more details. Zero-shot prompting. Zero-shot prompting is you ask the questions directly without giving any examples. For example, you ask something like this: summarize this challenge, summarize this change request in 5 bullet points. Tell me the scope, risk, dependency, rollouts, and rollbacks. So you are directly asking a question. You are not giving any context. You are not giving any examples. You are not defining any roles. You just ask directly, close your eyes and ask directly, what is this? And it's going to give you the answer. This is called zero-shot prompting. It's my son, just ignore him. Today is a Sunday evening. So this is a playtime for them. Anyway, the next is few-shot prompting. In few-shot prompting, what you do is you give some examples. Okay, here is my requirement and here are my test cases. Now write for this new requirement, what would be my test cases? Right? Or you can ask, this is my business context. These are my competitors. And for this business context, who would be my competitors? Okay, so you can give one example and ask it to write more based upon these examples. This is called few-shot prompting. So if you give one example, then it becomes one-shot prompting. If you give 2 examples, then it becomes a few-shot prompting. Okay. So you can even give something like this. Hey, here is my file. Give the output in this particular format, in this particular JSON format. Okay. Now here is another file. Now give me this output in the same format as the previous. That becomes a few shot prompting. Okay. So this is one type of a prompting. Next is chain of thought prompting. Okay. In chain of thought prompting, you will ask it to include stepwise reasoning. You give a stepwise reasoning for everything. For example, list steps to validate this data pipeline. Propose 5 tests with rationale. Okay. So for each step, you are going to say, okay, here is something. Give me step-by-step answer for me. After you complete this first step, give me the second step. You can ask something like that. Okay. In fact, we will do some promptings later. We'll ask them, hey, here is my first step. Now answer me step by step. After you complete the first step, I will tell you when to proceed to the next step. And then you go to the next step and then answer it. So that's a chain of thought kind of a prompting. Okay. Then you have role-based prompting. This is interesting. You put yourself in some shoes. Hey, I act as a security reviewer and tell me what are the flags, what are the risks, what are the unsafe evaluations and unbound joints. Or act yourself as a HR manager and tell me what are all the training programs I need to conduct for the next upcoming year. Something like that. You can ask. Now you tell the persona, you build the persona for the LLM, ask it to put itself in that shoes and then answer it based on that. That's called role-based prompting. The next type prompting is iterative and self-critic. This is very important. What we do is we ask an LLM to give an answer. And once it gives an answer, we tell that once you answer it, be critic of your own answer. Review the draft and give me the better answer. Let's say you're writing a blog about LLM. Okay, and you are talking about vectorization and tokenization. You ask an LLM to write about vectorization and tokenization. It gives an answer. Before it gives an answer, you also say that give me the first draft, be critic of the first draft, and give me a better second draft. You can say something like that. What it will do is it will write a first draft, and then you will say that goes back and looks at what all improvements it can do, and then gives the output. Or you can even say, write the first draft and write the first strength and weaknesses of the first draft. Identify the weakness of my first draft, go back and write the second draft to improve this weakness. That's one way of doing it. Other way is you can ask it to give the draft, you identify the weakness, you be the critic, a human be the critic and say that, hey, your draft is having this weakness, give me a better draft. That's also iterative type of a prompting, right? So, and prompt and critic can be LLM, a critic can be human also. Okay. The next type of prompting is reusable prompting. Okay, this is mainly for the developers. What they do is they hard code the prompt template. They will define the role, they will define the task, they will leave the input blank, and they will give the constraints, and they will say this is the format it needs to be outputted, and these are the acceptance criteria. All they do is they just call the function and give the input, and send that function to the LLM, and the LLM will give the output in a particular format. Okay, so this is called reusable prompt template, mainly used by the developers. You don't have to worry too much about this particular part. Okay, right. So you got this whole idea about, some vague idea about this. And unless you do something, it becomes really difficult. And I want you to write some prompts now. Okay, what you're going to do is open your notepad. Okay, open your notepad in your laptop, and I'll give you a scenario. Question? Anyone has asked for a question?
Yes. So before that exercise, I just want to understand this. For example, we now identified 4 kind of a prompting. So if I bought this ChatGPT license and regarding this token X cost, okay, the same question only. So if I use the last what is called refinement prompting,
Yep.
I use 10 lines of prompting with telling that to give accurate answers. Now the tokenization is considered as like 1 token, or it's like, if I write 10 lines, then it is considered as like a 10 into 100, then it could be like 1,000 tokens.
Yep. If you use iterative kind of a tokens, you are going to use a lot more tokens.
I understood that. Yeah. Great.
Right. Okay. But I think I will answer this how to reduce the tokens in when I go to the next session. I'm already running late, but anyway, let's quickly do this. This is the scenario. You work in a company that runs internal training programs. Okay, and you want to use an AI to write a short internal email announcing that there are new training sessions are coming up. Okay, this is the scenario. Now open your notebook, write a 0 shot prompting. Don't go to your LLM. Just open your notepad, and write a 0 shot prompt. I know many of you don't know how to write this. What do you mean by 0 shot prompt? But believe me, whatever comes to your mind, just write it. Just write only the prompt. Okay. Well, if you're done, next, write one short prompt. One short style of prompt. Whatever comes to your mind. There is no right or wrong. Okay, whatever comes to your mind, just write one prompt, same scenario, using one short prompt. Okay, if you're done, same scenario, ask to write stepwise kind of a prompting or chain of thought prompting. So you are going to ask AI to think step by step before writing an email. You might ask something like what needs to be communicated. I am the HR manager. Blah, blah, blah. You can write it. Or if I'm going to write a short internal email to enterprise, I'm giving out the answers. Think step by step what should be going to that email and then draft an email. That's a chain of thought kind of a prompting, right? Then you put role-based prompting. Now you can say that, hey, I'm a HR manager and I'm going to write something like this. Do a prompt. So please write in your notepad. Write a role-based type kind of a prompting. If you're done, please write iterative style of prompting. Okay. Have you guys done? If you're done, can someone copy paste your answer? If it's not too embarrassing to show, can someone please copy paste your answers in the chat? Okay, take your time. Write an internal email announcing a new training session. Okay, that's a zero shot kind of a prompting. Okay, guys, can you, whatever you are written, just copy paste it in the chat. Let me have a look at it. Meanwhile, this is what I have written. Okay, have somebody write it. Okay, write me an email to internal training program. Okay, zero shot kind of a prompting. Write an email to all employees providing an internal training, same as safety training. Oh, okay, few shot kind of a prompting. Nice. Write a short email to an enterprise provider, internal training programs. I'm not sure what it is supposed to be. Third one is a role-based prompting. Yes. Fourth one is for write the above email and be a critic of your own. Okay, nice. Thanks. Good effort. This is what I have written. Need not to be right. But you guys now started thinking towards this kind of a prompting technique. But tell me, who is right? Am I right? Or whoever that copy pasted this message, I didn't look at the name, sorry. Nimish. So is he right or am I right in this? We don't know, right? So there is no right or wrong answer to this. There is no right or wrong answer. But who can be the judge to say that my prompt is a good prompt or not? Who can say this?
You are.
Oh no, I'm not an expert in prompts. I can tell you
No,
that.
I know. I mean the person writing the prompt.
The person writes the prompt should be the one who should be good in the prompting. But again, let me tell you something. When you are doing something in hurry, do you think that you will think about all the zero shot prompting, one shot prompting, chain of thought prompting? It is there in your back of the mind. But when we type it in LLM, we type it in a fly. But we want a good prompt. And you guys now understand that prompting gives me a better answer. Who can be the judge of that prompt?
The LLM itself?
That's the answer I'm looking for. LLM itself can give you the prompt. Okay. What I did was this. Look at this. This is the cartoon I created using LLM. I created using Gemini. Okay. And what I did was I went to ChatGPT. And I said, I need a prompt to create a comic style image where on the left, an AI scientist is controlling a robot. On the right, a robot is controlling AI. The joke I want to communicate is that data scientists, though they thought would control AI, but the AI is taking their jobs. I do not need the image. I just need the prompt. This is a zero shot kind of a prompting. Agree with me. This is not a good prompt, but the moment I copy pasted I've sent this into ChatGPT. This is the ChatGPT output. Look how good it is. Comic style illustration, split into two panels. I didn't even say split into two panels here. It says left panel should have this, a scientist in a lab coat with glasses. I didn't say even with the glasses. Glasses happily controlling a humanoid robot using a joystick, symbolizing the humans thought they would guide the AI. And in the right panel use the whole, a robot is now controlling a smaller version of AI scientist like a puppet. Symbolizing AI is taken over the AI job. Above the both panels, write a playful caption saying that who is controlling who. Right? So you see that now I went to this and then it created this image. Look at that. A lab coat, glasses, joystick, a robot. Now robot is using as AI scientist as a puppet. I didn't say all these things. I started with a zero-shot prompting. But I copy pasted from one LLM to another LLM to get a better prompt. Are you guys with me? You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Where is this slide? Went off. Oh my God. Is my slides are still sharing?
Yeah, visible.
Okay, it just went off from the. See, I copy pasted this from ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gave me this much better answer prompt. Now I copy this prompt to Gemini to get a better answer. Okay, it doesn't have to be copy pasting from one LLM to another LLM. For example, the same thing. I'm going to my what to say. I'm going to Gork. Okay, I'm going to Gork. In the Gork, I copy paste this. Okay, and I say, just give me the prompt. Okay, zero-shot kind of a prompting. I ask this. It is thinking. I can say think harder and then answer it. Did it answer? Oh yeah, here it's the answer. Oops. Oh no, where it went? Sorry, let me do a new chart and then copy paste this. Just you on that image. Okay, reset it. Okay, send this. Oh, I might have exhausted my token. Oh no, it's not here. Here is a well-crafted prompt. You can copy paste into the image generator. It is even suggesting where I should go to get the comic style prompt you are looking for. Okay, and it says this is the comic style prompt. What I usually do is I copy these prompts, go to a notepad, paste it there, and see whether I like this or not, and then copy paste it into somewhere else. I will read this. It says that, oh, split the panels, 90s to 2000 Americans. I don't want 90s to 2000 Americans. I want 2000s to 2020 or something like that. Style American thing, 3:4 ratio. I don't want it. I want it 4:2 ratio. Something like that. Based on the time we changes. And then I copy paste it and then run it. Okay, I can go back to the same thing and then run it. Okay, here is the prompt, or rather I can say something like that. Okay, and it might give the image for me. There you go, it is creating an image for me. So it need not to be copy pasting from one LLM to another LLM. First ask LLM to give me a prompt. See, it created a slightly different images here. First you create a prompt. Start with a simple prompt. Not all your prompts are going to be perfect. You ask the LLM to refine the prompt. My usual technique is I copy paste it in my notepad, look at the refined prompt, and once I like the refined prompt, then ask it to execute it. And usually I'll go from one LLM to another LLM, because the reason why is if I ask one LLM to refine my prompt, the context is built there, and the LLM, I think my only job is refining the prompts, whereas my actual job is to execute that code. Okay, so I will use this one LLM to have context of refining prompt, and I use another LLM to create my codes. Which LLM I use, it depends. Okay, what I usually do is I go to this website called LM Arena. Okay, I go to this website called LM Arena, and it has this nice leadership board where each one is to do this. For example, right now, as of today, for doing code, Claude Opus 4.6 model is a good model, top ranked model for the code. For creating text, again, Claude Opus 4.6 is leading. For creating vision, Gemini 3 Pro is good. For creating text to image, for the job which we created, GPT is good. So I usually look at it and then do it, and each one have their own preference. Okay, but the short answer is use your LLMs to refine your prompts and then write it. And like I told you, it need not to be a zero-shot prompting. You might start with zero-shot prompting, and from there you can change your shoes and then go into role-based prompting or iterative and self-critic kind of a prompting and then do the job. Okay, any questions so far?
Yes, I do have.
Yes.
So based on what you exactly said, so coming back to the first slide for vibe coding.
Yep.
So should we do all kind of those techniques for the prompting to create one large, very big prompt.
Yep.
So I would say multiple pages when we want to
Yep.
build something and do
Absolutely.
vibe coding, covering all aspects and full context of the tool application or something that we want to build, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Answer is right. I will refine the prompt first, get the final prompt out, and use that prompt to create the code for me. Whichever the prompt I use to finally create the code, I will maintain that as a prompt type in my prompt vault. I call that a prompt vault. I use this prompt to generate this code. Have that in your prompt vault. Tomorrow, if you want to change something, for example, here is one example that I created a quick prototype using vibe coding. Okay. All I did was, again, I went to ChatGPT. I said that I need a code that I can copy paste in Claude. And the idea is I need to diversify my stock investments, meaning I need to take two different stocks from two different entities so that they are not correlated to each other. If they are correlated to each other, if one stock goes down, other stock will also go down. So I need to pick stocks from IT sectors, from healthcare sectors, from manufacturing sectors and things like that. So that show two examples. Just show me a visual example to do that. I use this, got a better prompt. That prompt, I used it to create this cloud artifact. Okay. So here is that cloud artifact that is created and it should work. Yeah. So see this, I can show that when the correlation is zero is when uncorrelated. It take through three stocks. My profile volatility score is less, meaning I will have very less risk. Whereas if the correlations are too high, look at the profile volatility also goes high. Two stocks are nicely correlated with each other. If one goes up, others also goes up. One goes down, others also goes down. Right? So it's a quick artifact, quick way of creating prototype. I did it using vibe coding. This is so useful. Vibe coding is useful to create a quick prototype. Okay. But again, creating quick prototype also, you guys refine your prompt and then create a quick prototype and have that refined prompt or the final prompt that you use to create the final prototype in somewhere in your prompt vault. Because tomorrow you want to change something. You want to say, hey, I don't want to show all these things. I don't want this return scatter plot in my code. What you will say? You will go and refine the prompt and then give the prompt output. You will not refine it saying that. So you will refine the prompt and say that in my code, in my, this thing, I should need to see only the scatter plot, not the line plots. Now you execute it and now you get a better output. Okay.
So if you are saying that we are going back to the original prompt, updating there and basically building it from the scratch.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So we're not coming and say, okay. So it's not coming to the result and say, oh, I don't like this part. Please update this. You
could do that. Unless if you don't want to use the same, you don't want to create another similar kind of artifact again in the future. It's a one-time thing. I'm not going to use it. None of my teammates are going to use it. I'm not going to use the similar kind of an explanation again. Then it's okay. It's gone forever. But you want to recreate something again, similarly in the next session or next meeting or for the next other type of a prototype where you only have to change the names here and there, then maintain the prototype later.
Okay.
Right? So here is another example, similar example. Here now I say that take stocks prices. Okay. The idea is to download the real data from SP500. Take three different stocks I said, Apple, MS, Microsoft and JP Morgan. Plot the stock prices, daily returns. And what I said is you go to the major announcement dates. For example, the major announcement dates can be the new iPhone dates, iPhones that has been launched, or it can be FOMC meetings that happen. And I say that you plot the returns 5 days before, average returns 5 days before the announcement and 5 days after the announcement. Again, what I did was I gave this code and asked it to give me only the prompt. That prompt, I used it to create this artifact. Okay, this time I asked it to create a Google Colab notebook. I don't know how many of you know this. The Google Colab notebook would look something like this. It's opening up. Okay, it will look something like this. It will have some text and it will also have some codes. You see that these are text, these are codes. These are text, these are codes. So this is called Jupyter Notebook, which runs in Google Colab platform. Now you will learn these things as these courses goes, where how to use this Jupyter notebooks and things like that, very high level. What is the use of this thing is, look at this. None of this is coded by me. I asked it to give me a Colab notebook. It will create a .ipynb file for me. All I have to do is download this file, upload in my Google Drive and open it up and it will open in my Google Colab. Now I can run this each cell and then it will show, okay, here I am running the cell. So I'm fetching the data. So if I run the cell, it will fetch the data. For example, if I go here, if I run this cell, let's say run anyway, it will download all this, packages for me. How it downloads? The Google will give me some computational power for my, okay. For example, the Google has given me a 12.7 GB RAM and 107 GB hard disk for me for free of cost, and I can use it for a limited time period. Usually it is for half an hour or so. Okay, so I can use this and then run these codes. So I already ran these codes, and here are the outputs. So here it fetched the data, and here it cleaned the data, and here it calculated the daily stock returns, and here it found out the dates, the important announcement dates. It found out by itself from the internet. I did not give any details here. It found itself from the internet, and then it plotted these graphs for me. Okay, this is for Apple. This is the date of announcement. This is previous 5 days on stock price. Immediately after the next day, the stock price went up, and then the following day, the stock price went down. This is usual with Apple, right? They will announce something, a new iPhone. You might think, oh, the iPhone looks exciting, but then later people realize that looks exactly same like the previous version of the iPhone. What is the difference? The price falls, right? So you see that this is the average returns 5 days before and 5 days after. This is for Microsoft. Probably Microsoft is not announcing anything interesting. So the stock prices went down and then went a little bit up, and then it went back to the baseline, I guess. This is for JP Morgan, where immediately after that major date, the stock prices went up and things like that, right? Again, this is completely wipe coded, not single line written by me. Okay, now let's do the same thing with slightly more. Okay, I want to write a proper application. Okay, now how did I do this? Now this time I saved my prompts. I have a prompt vault. Where is this? I have a prompt vault in my training, in my white coding, original prompt. Okay.
Sir, what is a prompt wallet? Quickly, sir.
Prompt wallet is just save your wallets in prompts in some file. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something that you generally use or frequently use, something like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nice.
So prompt vault is here. I started with something like this. Okay, I want to build a nice engineering folder with comments. I use VS Code, and I started something like this. I went to a ChatGPT that I copy pasted. I said that create me, no, not even this one. I started with something even simpler. Okay, and then it gave me this updated prompt for me. Okay, this is the first iteration of the prompt, and it said that build a personalized dashboard with AI insights. It should upload some CSV files, and it should pull the live prices from the Yahoo Finance. And the concept is, again, I want to build this AI personalized dashboard, and blah, blah, blah. So I did this, and I refined this prompt, keep on refining these prompts until I got a final prompt like this. This is my final prompt that I copy pasted to execute. Okay, look at the final prompt. The final prompt looks like this. You are a Python executor, built a complete production grade Streamlit portfolio dashboard app, put everything inside the new folder and called DB app. And as it created this should be the exact folder structure for me. And these are my mandatory requirements. These are the data validations. These are the calculations needs to be done. These are the cachings. These are how the UI should look like. And this should include these packages. Everything here is created by the prompting. So I started with 2-3 lines of prompt until I got this prompt. So
can you go back to that? Can you go back to how you led to the final
prompt? Okay, this is my first cut of prompt. This is probably not my very first prompt I used it. Probably the second prompt or third prompt I copy pasted it.
Okay.
Give me a
so
prompt.
Just in terms of how you came up with the final prompt, can you just run us through that?
Oh, I can run it too. Okay.
Sir, one more request. Once you're done with this, can you forward these prompts to us as well? Because I would like to play around it and see how it actually works for us as well.
Sure. Let me just start with something of my own. Okay. Let's do this. Where is this website? Okay. Okay. I start something like this. I want to build a personal portfolio app. The app should pull live prices from Yahoo Finance. Use Streamlit app. Use Python. I use VS Code. I will save my portfolios in a CSV file I will upload and the app should give me the analysis or something like that. Okay, I start something like that. Now I start. It's a very vague prompt, right? And I give this in hey, just give me the prompt, not the code. Okay, I'd be very specific. Now started with some absolute nonsense prompt, and it gave me this.
Better than my prompts.
Right? So what I will now do is I will take this and I will copy this. These are the constraints, blah, blah, blah. Okay. My usual technique is I copy this and I go to Notepad and I paste it here and I will read it. I will read it and I will make sure whatever I want is covered in this. If not, what I will do is goal is use Python plus Streamlit, personalized web applications, blah, 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 upload a Streamlit file. So I can say something like, I can copy paste this. Then what I will do is I will say, I don't want use some other UI interface. Okay. Give me a updated prompt. Just the prompt, not the code. Okay. Now I will copy paste this here because I saw what and all things I needed. And now I'll get a slightly updated prompt. That prompt I will get it. And I keep on refining it until I got a better applications. So it says that, oh, which one you wanted? You wanted Gradio, you want it to Flask or whatever you wanted. You choose, and then now I will tell you what needs to be done.
Yeah, great, sir. Fascinating.
Right. So I use this prompt. Now I saved this prompt world, right? I use this prompt. Where is the output of original prompt? LLM output is here. Okay. This prompt I used it and I gave me a code which looks something like this. Where is that? Oh, LLM output of the prompt. Here is what it gave. Here is my folder structure. And all it said is copy paste, create a folder structure like this. Then inside each one, you copy paste this code. Inside db/app.py, you copy paste this code. Inside, I'm just going down. Inside db src data loader.py file, copy paste this code. I did that. And then it went on, okay, inside this, copy paste this code. I did that. So you can even ask to do copy pasting. I did copy pasting, but you can say that, hey, just give me the zip folder. You can just download it, unzip it, and then run it. Believe me, that's exactly what I did. Okay. I got two versions. My first version did not work. So the DB old did not work. And I gave a better prompts. I checked that these are all things did not work in that prompt. I used this prompt vault. I got all these errors. Please update your prompt and give me a better file. That's all I did. So give a better file. And I select this. And these all the codes that it got. Don't say this. Okay. These are the codes it got. All these codes are generated using vibe coding. I didn't do anything. Okay, and I hope it should work. Let me just see if it works virtually. I have created this in a virtual environment. Activate this. Okay, and Streamlit run app.py should run. Okay, it is running in my local. So if I open this, everything is vibe coded. I didn't do anything in this. There you go. We created this. So if I browse and upload my CSV file. So what I did in my CSV file is basically I gave some sample file. I said, these are my tickers and these are my weights. These are the stocks I hold. I hold 30% of my stocks in Apple, 30% in Microsoft, these 30% in 20% in Google, 20% in Amazon, randomly created something. So I upload that here. So it automatically pulls the data, fetches the market data, real market data, today's market data, and then it gives the diversification analysis risk portfolio for me. Okay, I hope it will pull the data. Sometimes Yahoo Finance, especially on a Sunday evenings, here it is Sunday evenings, it doesn't pull the result, but this case is pulled the result. Okay, so it gave me the cumulative returns since last 2 years. Okay, my Sharpe's ratio, my annual what is the score, and what are my sector allocations I did, what are my major indicators, blah blah blah. All this it gave. Completely vibe coding.
Brilliant, sir. Brilliant.
Right? All these are great. I still have 15 minutes. All these are great.
Okay, question. So
but
what about
still,
connecting to the database?
Vibe coding? But still, why vibe coding is not common among developers? Why people are hate it? Any idea? I don't know how many of you work in an organization where you work with developers. Developers hate it. White coding. And that paper actually shows that the time increases with white coding. See, one of the problem is white coding not always gives the right answer. Okay, working results. It is okay to get some working quick prototype for you to work. Okay. If it is not working, don't fix the code. Fix your prompt until you get a working code. Okay. But for a production ready code, okay, which should have handled your errors properly. It should have written the test cases. It should have written all the guardrails. It should have had all the security inputs. This is not going to work out. Writing one single prompt and ask it to write, you know what, how many lines it created? It created thousands of lines of code spread across 5 different files. If it is an error, we don't know where it throws the error. We don't know where it throws the error. See this example, no? Here inside this SRC folder, this many number of files it has created. And each file has close to 160 to 170 lines. Okay. And if this is an error, what usually developer does is, because the developer understands this, he goes and fixes the code. He will fix the first error. He'll fix the second error. He might not fix the third error. He go back and ask this LLMs, what happens to my third error? The LLM, which does not know the third error happened because of the 2 error he fixed it. Okay. It will give something else. This guy will copy paste it in something else. And it goes in a loop. It absolutely goes into the loop. Okay. So it's a complete nightmare to have a white coding for a developers, but there is a way. There is a way. Okay. And now I'm switching my hat to a developer way, and then I'm going to tell you how as a developer you should do a white code. Okay. So white coding for a for a child who doesn't know, when I say child, I'm talking about those who don't know much about coding. You can get a working code. No problem in that. Working code, it is all there in your prompting. So if you do a proper prompting, you can get a working code. No doubt about it. You can copy paste it in your VS Code, or you can copy paste it in your Google Colab and get a working code for you. But as a developer, we want production ready grade code. So how to do it? Developer way of doing codes. Okay. Now, if you ask someone who doesn't know how to write codes, ask it to something like this, a zero-shot kind of a prompting, where you write a Python file function that reads a CSV file and returns only the active users. You give a code. 100% sure this code will work. No doubt about it. But if you look carefully as a developer, you will see there is no doc strings. There is no error handling. There is no test cases. It doesn't test the brittle true strings. These are the problems that is there, which a developer needs to write. It is not there. So what we do tell to the developers is, we first ask a LLM, say that, hey, I am working on this project. Do not give me the code, but create only the doc strings. What is doc strings? This is called doc strings. Doc strings are nothing but a pseudocode. Okay. Why I say pseudocode? LLMs are good in understanding English, and it is good in responding back in English. Even in the Claude, whatever it says that it is good in writing codes, it is still good in understanding only in English and answering only in English. So what we say to the developer is, first ask LLM to create a pseudocode for me, or a doc strings for me. What the doc strings will say? The doc strings will say what this function should do. The function file must be a string. The string must be a dictionary. It should read a CSV file from the user. And if the path should contain the CSV file, and the CSV file must include is active column in it. If the file is not found, say that the file is not found. If the column is not found, tell the column is not found. So we ask the developer to first write the doc strings, the LLMs to write the doc strings for us. Okay. Now you look at the doc string and you modify the doc string. Now it's English, plain English back to you. So you modify this English language to the LLM again, and then give it back until you get the doc strings correct. Once your doc strings correct, now you are going into the stepwise kind of a prompting. You go to the second step. The second step is ask it to write the active cases, edge cases, and the exception cases. Okay. Write it to write the base cases, edge cases, and the exception cases. Small functions for you. Not the whole code, not the 700, 800 lines, 1000 lines, 2000 lines codes for me. Write function by function. Give me only this function. I will read this function because now I know the code. I know how to bug fix this code. I know where the errors are. Give me the code first. Let me read it. Let me see where it works. If I have an input, I will correct here. Then once I am done with this, now give me the final code. Again, the final code should not be the everything. Just give me function by function. Create one function at a time. Create 10 lines at a time. Create one module at a time. So you tell them, do not create 1000 lines. You ask them to create 1000 function by function, and then you run it. So the usual prompt, what we say to them is, You are a Python developer. Tell them, give a context to the LLM, and you tell that you need to do the sequential steps. Do not combine the steps or add any extra content. Okay, now I'm saying step by step. Respond only with the request of the each out step. Wait for my approval. Do not proceed to the next step. Very important. I say this. And here is the problem I'm trying to tackle. Then I say step 1, generate only the doc strings, which is your pseudocode. Tell me what the function should do. Tell me what are the parameters it should take. Tell me what it should return. Tell me what are the side effects. Tell me what should be the behavior. Now, once you get the doc string, look at the doc string, read the doc string, make changes in it. Then tell that these are the changes you need to make into the doc string. Once you are happy with the doc strings, go to the step 2. Step 2 is now write your test cases, base cases, edge cases, how the errors should be handled, how the the exception cases should be handled. Still not the functional code. Once you have all this ready, then you ask it to write the functional code. That too, not full code, give only for the current step. Do it only for the current step I told you. Do not add anything else unless I ask you to do it so. Why I'm telling this? Because developers exhaust tokens very fast. And it writes 2000 lines of codes, written. We don't know what is written, what is the comments, nothing is there. But if I do this step by step, I will get a slightly better response. I will have control over what it is written. I will have control over what is white coded, right? So the main rules of the white coding is define the correctness of the code, not the logic. Constrain AI with your test cases, explicit cases, add more constraints, as much constraint as possible. Tell clearly what you want to do it. And when things go wrong, fix your instructions, not your code, guys. Okay, if you fix the code, you fix 2 times, 3rd time, the LLM do not understand where did you fix the code, and it goes back and gets into the loop. Now there is a workaround to it. Okay, there is a workaround. Now agentic AI comes into the loop. It understands what it made changes and then still makes changes to it. So the agentic AI is coming up into that. But still fix your instructions, not your code. Any questions on this? What's the time now? Perfect.
I have a question.
Yep.
So when if you're building a full-blown application, right?
Yep.
All the different instructions for, so you're breaking up the solution into, I guess, different pieces of instructions, and you're storing those instructions where? That's the only thing, like, because if you're focusing on the instructions and let the instructions generate the code, then you can't use the interactive chat, type thing where you just say, okay, oh yeah, make that change. Oh no, correct that, right?
Yep.
So typically, how do you keep track of all of this? Because I'm assuming instructors would end up being a whole library of instructions all by itself.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely, yes.
So which tools do you use and how would you use? I mean, I know that's getting too technical, but you understand what I'm getting at. You need to be able to you need to be able to manage the instructions themselves the way you would have managed code before. So, how are you doing it? Can you give us an example?
Yep. Okay, so the most commonly used interactive developer environment is VS Code. This is the VS Code, right? And majority of the enterprises have this the LLM access built into here. Okay, here you can choose what language or which LLMs that you want to use to. Okay, and you can also choose whether it should behave locally or it should behave in the cloud environment and things like that. Whether it should ask like an agent or just ask like a LLM. Okay, then it has a session here. You see that? Now the LLM understands that I'm working on this code called portfolio.py because that's a file I choose. It already chose that. Okay. Now I can go here and then say something to change. Okay. I don't know. I'm just making it up. And don't make sure latest version of pandas in this code. Okay. Now it is working on agentic AI kind of environment where it already aware about this environment, and then it asks you to make changes. And it will say that once the changes is done, you want it to append these changes into that, or you want to keep it like this. Okay. So once it's done, I can save this session to me. Okay. I have this session saved with me, and I constantly say to the developers, just like how you make changes in your, okay, made some changes. And it says that here is the changes I made. You want to keep it or undo. Okay. Where did it make changes? I have no idea. Okay. I don't know why this poll comes. Where it made changes? It made changes probably in my requirements files. Okay. And it says that should I keep it or not? I say I keep it. And it already made changes in there. Okay, so these things, I'm going to undo it. Okay, it did not work. So these things, you can do it and you can save this session history. Here is my session history. This session history, we are saying them to commit this session history along with the commits, they make it with the codes. So usually a developer will make changes in the code and push it to the GitHub. Okay, where he will say that these are the changes I made it for this particular day, and then he pushes to the GitHub so that everyone can see. What we say is, along with your changed codes, along with your commits, put this session also in commits. So this acts like your prompt. Did I answer your question? I may not. Okay. If AI writes the code, does the real skill becomes writing better rules instead of writing better logic? If the output is wrong, how do we know whether the model failed or we failed to define correctness clearly enough? Oh, good questions. Okay, first question. If AI writes the code, does it really become writing better rules instead of writing better logic? Yes, the real skill now becomes writing better prompts. Yes, not the codes. Still, you need to understand the codes, because if the codes goes wrong, we better know where it goes wrong and give better instructions to the LLMs, right? So yes, we don't have to write codes anymore. All we need to do is define the logic clearly to the LLM. To the second question, if the output is wrong, how do you know your model failed or we failed? Well, that's a tough question to answer, but assuming all these large language models performs clearly, the first logical conclusion you should come to is, well, I didn't clearly communicate enough to the LLM. So define your prompts and come to a final after making sure 100 times trying it, you're still not getting it right. Then probably you say that, okay, the model is not doing well. That's where that LM Arena says that which model should I pick with is probably a starting point for you to pick a model, then start communicating with the model.
One thing, sir, because as you just mentioned in the previous slide, basically one task with one function always works, right? Because I know writing a big application where where you are writing an application which is an enterprises level, which is doing a lot of stuff, right? And there finding an issue with the code that is generated by AI it's nightmare, right? It's not something that can be done very easily. But we can mitigate up to certain extent. We can avoid the risk of this by writing one function
at a time,
perform one task,
yes,
and does the due diligence across it, and then find whether it is working fine or not, if it is following all the rules and regulation that is required across that application. That's where we can at least minimize the error, minimize the risk, but 100% removing the complexity which is which can which could be the prone to the failure cannot be done.
Absolutely. But we can minimize it.
Yes.
We can minimize it. We can get much better codes. We can reduce the token usages. What it happens is, see, now developers is, I want this this thing, they vibe code it, give it in one day. Okay. It worked on that day. Next day, you use it in a different computer, it is not working. Okay. And then they ended up code fixing it. That is the time that take it for longer time than actually writing the codes. Bug fixing is the main thing, right? So, but if you do this kind of a logic, then you will have a slightly better system, better way of doing it. Because now you are testing each and everything carefully before going it. What happens is, instead of in one single day you're writing the application, you might take 3 days to write the application. That's okay. Previously, it would take 30 days to write the application. Now it takes 3 or 4 days to write the application. But please take that 3 or 4 days to write those applications, even though you wipe code it. Don't do it in one day and then give me the answer to it. Okay, now this wipe coding fails. So we spoke about quick prototype kind of a wipe coding, and we also spoke about developers' way of wipe coding. There is another problem in wipe coding. What about your legacy systems? So the major problems in major bigger companies is we are not going to write end-to-end system from the scratch. There is already an application running. We are just adding a small module to it. That's all. So it's a human written code. Legacy systems are human written code, human written logic, human written commands. Now the application has to understand this human written commands, which is probably 5,000, 10,000 lines of codes or 20,000 lines of codes because it's a huge application. From there, I'm adding another 100 lines of codes. It's a nightmare, right? Because 20,000, 30,000 lines of code, I cannot copy paste it here in my context length. My context length does not give any. If I copy paste it, my latency gets delayed, and the logic is not clearly written because it's human written. And not just only that, it is spread across 20 different files. Okay. Doing vibe coding in a legacy application is a painful process to do it. That's why majority of the enterprises, I go and train them. This is the biggest pain point, which the top management doesn't understand. Only the developer will understand this. Okay, he will say that, sir, yes, they got me all these things, but someone wrote the code and it's human written logic and human written variable names. Now my LLM doesn't even understand what is there, and I want to add new module to it. It throws out a lot of errors for me, even though it is 100-line code. So what they do, they just close everything. They write their own 100-line codes. Okay. Again, the same problem arises. When a human writes the code, the codes are not, the variable names are reused, the variables are not properly named, comments are not properly given. All that problem comes into the play. It's better AI writes the code because now AI knows the logic, writes the logic slightly better. AI naming conventions are better. AI comments are better than the human. But still, because of these issues, we ended up doing this. So there is a way to it, which is called, what we do is we teach them now. We usually put all these things in a RAG. We call this as a retrieval augmented generated systems. So we built a RAG for them. And then the agent AI, we built it. The agents now go back to this legacy applications, RAG from those applications, look for the relevant codes, and based on that, it adds the codes later to it. Okay, still the errors are minimized, still the errors are there, but at least there is some solution to it. And it's a solvable solution. This is not just the problem for now, this is the problem for majority of the LLMs, majority of the peoples, especially those who are selling LLMs. For them, the main problem is how should I make my developers work, use my LLM tool for them. So they are now coming up with this agentic RAG kind of a thing where it can go to the legacy application, understand the code, and then give it to them. Okay, so there is a ways around to it. That's more for a developers to worry, and that's where I've been training these peoples on how to build the RAGs, how to build the agentic AI systems, and then use the agentic AI to do the vibe codings for you and things like that. So solutions can be written, solutions can be done, but these are the problems that developers usually face. Okay. So I stop my class here, and in fact, I have few more slides where I say what are the good habits of vibe coding, and I leave this to you guys to read it. I say that, hey, create single line at a time, create the doc string first, then you create the test cases, then you create the pseudocode for me. Once the pseudocode, everything is ready, then write the snippets for me. Once the snippets are correct, make sure your naming and visualization are normalized. Once it's all there, then you write the strings, then add the instruments and all this. So this is more for a developer to worry about. But for a product managers or a business leaders like you, a simple prototype vibe coding is good enough. You can do it. Only thing you need to keep in mind is doing a proper prompting. Okay, so with this, I will stop the class, but I will stay here to to answer your questions. Is there any questions?
Well, I have a question that might be more of a technical question, so I don't know if the class. So, okay, are people doing the same thing for database type programming, SQL programming, that kind of thing? I've seen a lot of work done with front end, middleware, that kind of thing. But there's also a lot of logic and all that baked into, DB
Built into
scripts
that.
and that kind of stuff. Is there any work where, for you helping, because troubleshooting problems usually
Yep.
requires a combination of logic and data.
Yep.
So what's the work being done in that space?
Okay. So for these legacy systems, right, like where it is connected to multiple things, front ends, back ends, and things like that. Now Claude has an option called create a .md file. Okay. And I upload this .md file in each session I start. Whenever I start a session, .md stands for markdown file. This .md file will contain the instructions. In that instructions, what we used to do is we write the logics first in a simple main English language, or as much as clarity as possible. We write a language, logic here saying that this file contains my front end. This front end file connects to my database, which is placed in this particular directory. And this directory has access only to these things. These are the security requirements that is given to the directory. And I give this clear instructions, and I make this instructions in .md file. Okay. Now, every time I start a session, I give this .md file into the session. So the session now starts fresh. It has good context length, but it also has .md file that it can look into it further to understand the context and then reply to me in the answer. Okay. So this is what we are suggesting them to do. I hope I answered. I'm not sure whether I answered or not.
Not really, but it does answer another question that's pretty important. So
Okay.
Okay, so let me ask a question that I think is more targeted to this class.
Yeah.
From a leadership perspective,
Yep.
what's the big takeaway in terms of vibe coding for your teams? What's the decision factors that you should be paying attention to in terms of saying, okay, you know what? We should probably introduce vibe coding into, this process, your team, becoming on board to a new team. What's the real world decision factors that we should use around
Okay,
this topic?
Two things. One, you guys can now vibe code it. You don't have to depend on your team members to create a quick prototype. Okay, you on yourself or you maximum one person under your team can ask them to create a quick prototype, working prototype. Need not to be a final solution, working prototype. Ask them to do a vibe coding and then give it to you. Yeah, that will work. Right, number one. Number two, when you are giving this to your teams, understand the constraints that are there in the vibe coding. Okay, for a 2-line sentences, it is going to give me 600 lines of code. Believe me, nobody writes 600 lines of code in a day. They write max 60 lines in a day. Okay, but if the same person as a developer, if they use the logic that I ask them to write six lines or 10 lines, give me output 10 lines at a time, and then make sure the lines are working fine, and then give the final code, slowly build the code, then it is good for them. So for a developer, you need to train the developers, especially now because the developers are so new to all these things and they just exhaust the token left and right. Okay, so you need to instruct your developers how to do a proper way of vibe coding. What is the right number of token lengths that you can allocate to them, whether they are using a lot of tokens, how much tokens they are using in a month, that you can have a track of it. So for your team, understanding how the LLM works, understanding how they use the vibe coding part is important. And for you as a leader, you can create a quick prototypes using your vibe codings.
Okay.
Okay. If there is any more questions you guys can ask, or else this would be the end of the class. Please leave your feedback, or you can say your feedback now. If you have any questions, please do ask. I will stay here for a couple of minutes. If there is no more class, you guys can free to drop off. There are a few people who would like to ask questions when they are alone. So I would like to stay here for 5 minutes. And if you don't have any more questions, please drop off.
So in your experience of using the LLMs in daily life,
How do you perceive the LLMs today, right? As like a human being or a near human being or a machine. How do you think about it?
I will tell you something. I feel, I don't know. I feel like without LLMs, nowadays my work doesn't move. Everything is around my LLM. I'm so addicted to LLM now, I would say. Right? I feel like handicapped without LLMs. Even writing emails, I write use LLMs nowadays. I don't know.
This is not only you, Sansa. Everybody is like this only.
No, I'm being honest with you guys because I really don't know. See, the majority of the class content, right? Like if I want to know the flow, I know how to do the flow. I've been teaching for past 15 years, guys. But I still go and ask LLM, tell me the flow, how should I connect these dots? Obviously, I don't take this answer, but gives me a starting point for me.
But sir, don't you think that the LLM models and the AI models that we have, it actually pushing people not to go into core skills? Because here these days, when we were hiring people, we found that when we ask very simple questions, what is SML, which is a
makes us dumb.
capital market line, or so they were able to generate its code or its calculation through LLM. But when we ask them that what exactly these do, and I'm giving you data, can you draw these? People are like, they don't understand it. So even LLM is generating the output for you. It is giving the results to you. But how would you validate it until you don't understand the core skills or core landscape of it?
Absolutely.
So that's something that's where I see people have moving away from the core scale as well.
Yep. I agree, guys. It's like, I have been driving my car for past 10 years. I never opened my hood and I understood what is inside the car. Why should I do it? That's a mentality of Gen Z now. I use LLM. It gives me output. It works. So what? Seriously, that's the mindset I have it. And, all the Gen Zs have it. And I meet a lot of people, right? Like, they all are in that. So why should I worry about how it works? Why do I need to know? It works. I've driven my car for past 10 years. Never wondered what is there under my hood. Why should I wonder about it? I don't know what engine it uses. I don't know what engine oil I use. I give it to a mechanic. That guy fixes it. All I know is to drive. That's it. And does it make us dumb? I absolutely agree. It makes us dumb. But we live in this world. I don't know what the future will look like.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where this thing's actually, making. Although technology brings a lot of good to us, but I feel equally, the rationale here is that when you learn something, learn it from the core as well, because it will help you to understand what you have in your plate at the end.
Yep. See, it's like few years ago, math calculations, additions, right? Addition, multiplication, subtractions. We used to do it when I was in school. Calculators are not allowed, even in my board exams. Okay, we used to do these calculations in hand. But 2 years after or something, I studied in a CBSE board in India. They allowed the calculators for math exams. So people started doing this math calculation, even 5 plus 5, they do it on calculator, right? It's something like that. People are becoming dumb as these LLMs grows bigger and bigger.
So just related to that, as a professor, and the challenge today is like you have kids, and a lot of us have kids here. Like, what do you think is the future of how kids? What should they learn, right? What are they? Everyone is using AI in different ways. Some are using it to kind of cheat on assignments. Some are using it in different ways. Like, in your opinion, as someone who's educating people, like, what do you think? I know it's slightly different from the context we are gathered here in, but it's all about adaptation and how each one is adapting to this reality.
I worked on healthcare, right? I work a lot on healthcare, and I meet some top doctors in India. I have collaborated with doctors from AIIMS, doctors from JIPMER, many big shots, right? And wherever I go, these perfect. Can you believe it? But this similar question has been posted to one radiologist. I forgot his name. He's a Spanish. I don't know which one of the Spanish-speaking countries, right? He stood up in a conference. He said that AI will not replace us. He's talking about radiologists. Okay, AI will not replace us, but those who don't use AI will be replaced. Okay, that's a lot of meaning into it, because I feel AI has penetrated in our workspace everywhere, in our lifestyle. A basic understanding of AI should be taught from the schooling level and the engineering level, just like how everyone learned Fourier transformations in our engineering. these transformers will be taught at the engineering level. So the fundamental understanding of the LLMs and how the AI works will be taught. That I see, that I already see that in the curriculums being implemented. So everyone will have that basic understanding, and everyone will start to coexist with AI. That is something that will live with it. So I see my uncle, my mom's brother, he's a teller in a bank. Okay, he retired now. Back in 1990s, 2000s, when the ATM machines came, he used to freak a lot. I still remember, and he used to say that ATMs are going to come, automated, teller machines. My job is going to go away. But believe me, what, he still worked as a teller till, or he promoted as a branch manager. That's a different story. But he worked in a bank till his retirement, and his job did not go away. Right? So this whole thing of AI will replace me, AI will do this, AI will cut the jobs is to an extent. Those who don't understand the AI, yes, they will lose the jobs. But those who know how to use the AI and coexist with them, the jobs are absolutely safe, is what I think.
What is it?
Sanuj, can I ask some questions related to this healthcare?
Yeah. Yep.
See, for example, after I saw your PhD, then I got a little bit idea, because in my young ages, I was so fond of become a doctor, okay, MBBS doctor.
Yeah.
But it never, I was depressed in so many years, and after that I come out of the depression. Okay, so but now after I saw this, your healthcare PhD, you're not the doctor, but now we are able to help the doctor and help the core industries.
Yes.
So I want to know, for example, I'm doing DBA program. Is there any possibilities like with this course I can help this industrial, the core medical industry, or do I really need to pursue a PhD degree for this?
See, DBA asked, yeah, that's a great question actually. See, DBA requires you to build a business solution.
Yeah, that's true.
So end of the day, see, I am a DBA guide. Okay, you will have one technical guide and then one co-chair who's a business person. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, 26th of this month, 26, 27, 25, 26, 27, 3 days, there is 3 students from cohort 1 final defenses lined up. Okay, I'll tell you one student who has done it. He built an AI model which will again look at eye images and predict for what he calls the retinopathy prematurity. These are
Jansi, can you? There's a lot of static coming from your side. You may want to go on mute and such. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. So this guy from cohort 1 or cohort 2 maybe, he has built an AI solution. He has built it from the scratch because he also as a developer, now he's into the business leading in a leadership position. Where he built an AI which can look at the eyes picture and then pick for retinopathy of prematurity, which is a premature retina which happens on the infants. Okay. He has built an application himself. And he has went to multiple doctors and got their feedback about how the AI will work, whether the AI will be useful in their practice. Now he has written a business model around it. He has built the application. Okay, he's ready to sell this application. He has patented the applications. But for that application, he has written a business model. How my application will perform in my business. What is that doctors think about it? What should be my pricing models? What is my ROI? What is my market? Who and all there in the market? So I'm one of his competitor and I'm his co-chair as well, right? So all these things he has written around it. So to answer your question, you can still build models that is useful for doctors, but for those models, you can write a business case around it for your DBA thesis.
Thank you, Sanuj. Is it possible you can give the colleague contact? Then we can also know.
I think it is open. I'm not sure whether I can say it. So, okay, I'll tell the candidate name. His name is Jay Chandran. Jay Chandran.
Okay, sir.
He's giving his defense, I think, on 26 or 27. It's an open defense. I'm not sure whether it is everyone can allowed or not. You have to check with the upgrade team.
No, sure. Okay. Thank you, Sanuj. Thank you.
Hi, Doctor. Just want to check with you. What do you think of the possibility of using AI to predict, for example, like in a forensic, where you have a smart fingerprint,
Yeah.
Yeah, and using the AI to scan, it's able to predict the nose and knots and all that to to come up with a rough estimate of the actual fingerprint.
Yep. You don't have to use a Gen AI. So the applications I have built around is not based on Gen AI, to be honest. I used deep learning methods. Okay. It's using a Gen AI to do this is like killing a mosquito with your machine gun. Okay. You can use even smaller models, deep learning methods to do this. And in fact, there are few fingerprint matching techniques out there written already available. Those you can use it and then fine tune it for your business needs.
Thank you.
All right. If there is no more questions, I think that will be already taken 25 minutes extra.